The wrestling world has been shaken to its very core, and fans are demanding answers. Ric Flair, the Nature Boy himself, collapsed after what doctors are calling a total breakdown of his body from decades of WWE injuries finally catching up to him. The shocking part? WWE insiders claim they knew this was coming. And now, Charlotte Flair, Ric's daughter, the queen of WWE, is left mourning in front of millions as fans and wrestlers across the globe pour out their grief and rage. This isn't just another headline. This is heartbreak that cuts straight through the industry. Ric Flair, a 16-time world champion, a man who built the foundation of modern professional wrestling, a man who bled, sweat, and broke bones night after night for the fans, has finally been forced to pay the cruelest price. Doctors have confirmed that years of concussions, brutal bumps, and a lifestyle that kept him constantly in the ring are the reason his body could no longer hold on. And let's be very clear, this wasn't some random accident. This was preventable. People inside WWE's medical team have spoken off the record, saying Ric had been suffering more than anyone wanted to admit. He collapsed after complaining of chest pain, dizziness, and overwhelming fatigue that had been ignored for far too long. And when the Nature Boy fell, the locker room fell silent. Charlotte Flair, who was backstage at the time, was reportedly inconsolable. Sources describe her as screaming, shaking, and collapsing to her knees when she realized her father had been rushed to the hospital. Imagine being Charlotte, the queen of WWE, the woman carrying her father's legacy, and watching your father's body finally give up after everything he gave this business. It's a nightmare no daughter should ever endure. Social media erupted within minutes. Hashtags like #PrayForFlair and #ThankYouRic started trending instantly, with thousands of wrestlers, fans, and celebrities sending their heartbreak online. But mixed into the love is a wave of anger at WWE for not stepping in sooner, anger at the system that chews up legends until there's nothing left. One viral post even read, "They built the empire on his back, and now his body is broken because of it." WWE officials, in a rushed press release, tried to calm the storm by acknowledging Flair's collapse, but the statement was cold, clinical, and already being torn apart by fans who feel the company is brushing off the man who made them global. "A medical emergency has occurred involving Ric Flair," the statement read. "He is receiving care and will remain under observation." That's it. No emotion, no respect, and fans noticed. Meanwhile, Charlotte has remained silent online, but insiders say she's been breaking down in tears during rehearsals, barely able to perform, and pushing WWE officials to do more to honor her father. One anonymous WWE producer told us Charlotte doesn't want another tribute video. She wants accountability. She's demanding that her father's sacrifices not be forgotten. The collapse itself happened at the WWE Performance Center, where Ric had been mentoring younger stars. Eyewitnesses say Ric suddenly clutched his chest, gasped, and fell to the floor. Wrestlers rushed to his side, while medics scrambled to revive him. Those who were there describe a terrifying scene: silence, panic, and Charlotte sprinting down the hallway as her father was lifted onto a stretcher. Medical experts now say Flair's decades of injuries, including broken backs, neck damage, and repeated concussions, are what led to his collapse. One doctor familiar with Flair's condition revealed he's been carrying scars most people can't even imagine. His heart, his brain, his joints, they've all taken a beating for the business. And that's where the anger is boiling over. Fans aren't just sad, they're furious. Furious that legends like Ric are still pushed to appear on TV, furious that the toll of wrestling is treated as entertainment until tragedy strikes. Thousands of comments are pouring in under WWE's social media posts, demanding more than just a tribute. They want reform. Charlotte Flair's grief is now on display for the world to see. Cameras caught her backstage, holding her head in her hands, whispering through tears, "He gave everything for this, everything." She has reportedly told friends that she feels guilty, that she should have done more to protect him, even though everyone knows this is bigger than her. But fans aren't letting her shoulder this burden alone. Support is flooding in, from Sasha Banks posting, "We love you, Charlotte. We love you, Ric," to Triple H saying privately to staff, "This is the hardest moment of my career." Ric isn't just a legend. He's family. Even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took to Instagram, writing, "The Nature Boy made us all want to be larger than life. Today, my heart breaks for Charlotte and the Flair family." The wrestling world is in mourning, but make no mistake, this story is far from over. Questions are being asked, fingers are being pointed, and Charlotte herself is standing at the center of it all, demanding answers. And in the days ahead, WWE cannot escape the storm that is coming. The fallout from Ric Flair's collapse has not just rocked WWE, it has shattered trust, triggered outrage, and left Charlotte Flair caught between unbearable grief and public expectation. Fans aren't just mourning, they're calling this a disgrace, a tragedy that could have been avoided if WWE had treated its legends with the dignity they deserve. Backstage sources say the atmosphere inside WWE is tense, almost toxic. Some wrestlers are refusing to stay quiet. One veteran, speaking anonymously, said, "We all knew Ric was hurting. We all saw it. But as long as he could still walk to the ring and say woo-woo, the machine kept rolling. Now look where we are." Charlotte Flair, once the symbol of WWE's future, now carries the crushing weight of her father's past. Friends describe her as both devastated and furious. She's reportedly told WWE officials that she will not let Ric's collapse be treated like just another storyline. Charlotte is demanding a full-scale tribute, not for ratings, but to ensure her father's legacy is treated with the respect he deserves. But WWE's response so far has been shockingly tone-deaf. Plans are being discussed internally to feature a short Ric Flair tribute package on Raw, a 2-minute video, squeezed between segments, designed more to pacify fans than to honor a man who gave his life to the business. The locker room is disgusted. A younger star even vented, 2 minutes? 2 minutes for the Nature Boy? He built this place. That's spitting in Charlotte's face. That's spitting in all of ours. Fans are not holding back either. The WWE Universe has launched petitions, with one gaining over 50,000 signatures in less than 24 hours, demanding that Ric Flair receive a full-length Hall of Fame level special immediately. Comments are brutal, they'll profit off his woo-woo forever, but when his body breaks down, they look the other way. Meanwhile, Charlotte's pain has spilled over to her performances. At recent shows, she's broken character multiple times, openly crying as chants of "Thank you Rick" thundered through the arenas. One fan video captured Charlotte pausing mid-match, looking toward the sky, and whispering, "This is for you, Dad." The clip went viral instantly, drawing millions of views and sparking even more outpourings of emotion online. Behind the scenes, wrestlers are rallying around her. Bayley reportedly sat with Charlotte for hours in the locker room, while Becky Lynch told her, "We're with you. Whatever happens next, you're not alone." Even Roman Reigns, usually reserved backstage, broke his silence, saying, "There's no bloodline without the men who came before us. Ric Flair is the foundation. Period." Medical reports now reveal even darker truths. Doctors have confirmed that Ric's collapse wasn't a freak occurrence, it was the result of long-term damage ignored for years. Spinal trauma, severe arthritis, lingering head injuries, all layered on top of heart complications. One specialist bluntly stated, "Ric Flair's body has been telling us for years it couldn't take more. This collapse was inevitable." And that's where the outrage deepens. Fans are accusing WWE of covering up Ric's condition, pointing to the countless times he appeared on TV looking frail, yet was still pushed into the spotlight. Viral side-by-side clips now show Ric struggling to walk at a convention just months ago, contrasted with WWE hyping his appearance on television for a cheap pop. Charlotte, however, has shifted from grief to resolve. Insiders say she's preparing to take time off from WWE, not only to be with her father but also to pressure the company into enacting real change. She wants medical reform. She wants mandatory health protections for legends who continue to appear. And she wants her father's name to be remembered for more than just a collapse. In an emotional backstage meeting, Charlotte reportedly told WWE executives, "If you don't do right by my father, you will regret it. This isn't about a storyline. This is about the man who made you what you are." The room, according to one witness, went silent. Meanwhile, AEW and other promotions are seizing the moment to show respect. Tony Khan personally tweeted, "Our prayers are with Ric Flair and Charlotte. Legends deserve love, not exploitation." Fans have begun speculating whether Ric Flair's family might cut ties with WWE altogether, a move that would send shockwaves through the industry. Tributes are pouring in from every corner of the wrestling world. From Sting, Ric's longtime rival, posting, "We fought wars together. My brother forever," to Hulk Hogan writing, "There would be no Hulkamania without Ric Flair paving the way." It's clear the entire industry is united in mourning, even as the finger of blame points squarely at WWE. Outside the ring, fans have turned Ric's collapse into a movement. Memorial chants echo at independent wrestling shows. Murals of Ric's iconic robe and championship pose are being painted across cities. One fan outside the Performance Center even shouted to reporters, "He lived for us. Now it's time we fight for him." But perhaps the most heartbreaking moment came when Charlotte visited her father in the hospital. A nurse, who asked to remain anonymous, said Charlotte held Ric's hand and whispered, "I'll carry your name, Dad. I promise." Ric, still weak but conscious, reportedly managed to say just one word in response, "Woo." The Nature Boy is still alive, but the message is clear: the years of punishment have finally caught up. Whether or not WWE faces accountability for this is now in the hands of its fans and its stars, who refuse to stay silent. As Charlotte mourns, she also fights. She's not just the queen anymore, she's a daughter demanding justice for her father. And as the wrestling world watches, one thing is undeniable: Ric Flair's collapse has exposed the brutal reality of this business like never before. The story isn't ending here. It's only beginning. And WWE cannot hide from the storm that is raging louder than any crowd chant. The fans are angry. The wrestlers are angry. And Charlotte Flair is standing at the very center of it, carrying her father's legacy with fire in her eyes and heartbreak in her heart. If you thought the storm surrounding Ric Flair's collapse was starting to calm down, think again. The fire is only burning hotter, and WWE is standing in the middle of an inferno that refuses to die out. What started as heartbreak for Charlotte Flair has now become a movement, one that fans are calling the fight for Flair. The latest developments are damning. Reports confirm that Ric Flair's collapse was not just the result of his injuries, but also of sheer exhaustion. Sources claim that Ric had been pushed to make multiple appearances in recent months despite doctor warnings. One insider revealed he was tired, worn out, and he said more than once, "I don't think I can do this anymore." But WWE wanted him in front of cameras. That revelation has fans absolutely enraged. Charlotte Flair has reached a breaking point. While she hasn't spoken publicly yet, close friends say she's been meeting with legal advisors about her father's health rights and the possibility of holding WWE accountable. Imagine that, Charlotte, WWE's golden child, potentially preparing to wage war against the very company that made her a star. And the fans? They're rallying behind her like never before. At live shows this past week, crowds have hijacked segments with deafening chants of "justice for Ric" and "shame on WWE." Entire matches have been drowned out, forcing production to cut crowd mics at times. The WWE Universe is sending a clear message: they won't let the Nature Boy's suffering be brushed under the rug. Even legends are starting to speak out more bluntly. Mick Foley, never one to mince words, tweeted, "This business is beautiful, but it's also brutal. Ric Flair deserved better. We all do." Chris Jericho added on his podcast, "It breaks my heart, but it doesn't surprise me. WWE has been pushing legends past their limits for decades." And here's where things get even more explosive. Sources inside WWE Creative leaked that there were actual discussions about turning Ric's collapse into an on-screen storyline. Yes, you heard that right. Some executives apparently floated the idea of having Charlotte channel her grief into a heel turn, using Ric's collapse as fuel. When word of this reached the locker room, the backlash was immediate. Wrestlers reportedly threatened to walk out if WWE tried to exploit Ric's condition for ratings. Charlotte herself was said to be livid. In a private meeting, she allegedly told Top Brass, "If you even think about using my father's pain for a storyline, I'll walk, don't test me." For someone who has carried the women's division for years, those words hit like a sledgehammer. Meanwhile, Ric Flair's condition remains fragile. Doctors have stabilized him, but insiders say his recovery will be long and uncertain. His heart is weak, his body battered beyond repair. And yet, even in that state, Ric is still trying to reassure everyone. One nurse said Ric keeps telling staff, "Don't cry for me. I did it all for the fans." That single statement has gone viral, with fans calling him the ultimate warrior of the ring. The emotional toll on Charlotte is devastating. Friends describe her as torn between private grief and public responsibility. She's been seen comforting her family, breaking down in tears in quiet moments, and then forcing herself to walk into arenas with her head held high. To the fans, she's still the queen, but behind the curtain, she's a daughter trying to hold herself together while the world watches. And it's not just Charlotte. The ripple effect across the industry is undeniable. AEW has openly offered to host a special tribute show if WWE refuses. Independent promotions are holding Flair Nights, where wrestlers come to the ring in robes as a nod to Ric's iconic style. Even outside wrestling, sports icons like Shaquille O'Neal and Mike Tyson have spoken up, calling Ric Flair a legend whose sacrifices must never be forgotten. WWE's silence is deafening. Apart from short, carefully worded statements, they've done nothing to calm the storm. No live tributes, no major acknowledgement, no medical transparency. Fans are interpreting this as arrogance or refusal to admit fault. One journalist summed it up perfectly: "They're treating Ric Flair like an old prop, not a man. That's why people are furious." And here's where the story could take an even darker turn. Rumors are spreading that Charlotte Flair might walk away from WWE altogether if things don't change. Imagine that. Charlotte, the most decorated woman in WWE history, possibly leaving the company in protest over how they treated her father. Insiders say she's already been in contact with friends outside WWE about her options. If that happens, WWE could face not just backlash, but a full-blown exodus of talent. Wrestlers who feel the same way about how legends are treated might follow her lead. One mid-card star was quoted as saying, "If Charlotte leaves, I'll leave. If Ric Flair doesn't mean enough to them, then none of us do." This is no longer just a heartbreaking family tragedy. It's becoming a war between a grieving daughter, her father's legacy, and the corporate machine that may have pushed him too far. And as Ric Flair fights for his health, Charlotte fights for his honor. The question now is simple: will WWE finally step up and do the right thing? Or will they let the Nature Boy's collapse become the symbol of everything wrong with the business? One thing is for certain: the world is watching. The fans are speaking. And Charlotte Flair is not backing down.